Hi, my name is Marcus E. Acko. I've been wanting to write a fiction novel for a very long time now. Decided to go and ask some experts for help. Here are some of those experts that lended a hand.
My name is Meg Latour.
Courtney Price.
Michael Laurent.
Kirsty
I'm Mark Pearson.
I'm Monique from the BookTube channel Reading with Mo.
These and many other experts gave me loads of tips on how to navigate the world of publishing. I took all of their advice and I put them in videos on the new YouTube channel, The Idiot on the Writer's Block. Just go to YouTube and type in The Idiot on the Writer's Block and subscribe if you want to get expert tips on how to write, publish, and promote your first fiction novel. And if you have other questions that you would like to see answered, leave them in the comments to the videos. I will definitely read them and I'll get our experts to help us out. That way, this idiot can help you write your novel. Hi, I'm Marcus, and I'm the Idiot on the Writer's Block.
Well, look at this! Here's the guy here just in the nick of time. What does that make us? Big damn heroes, sir. Ain't we just?
I know this has been difficult. The move and a new stepfather, but we're gonna make a good life.
What are you?
It's the cosmic staff. It's extremely temperamental. Staff's not supposed to work for anyone except Starman.
This has to be the reason the staff lit up. The staff chose me, and I choose you.
I never thought there'd be another Starman.
STARGIRL.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes this happens. Marcus cuts out, and all of a sudden he freezes. You can't hear any sound. Blah blah blah. And yes, you did. So
did I cut out? What? Oh, okay. I'll do that again. I was
take
just
two.
starting.
All good.
I'll do that again. You're listening to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM. I'm Marcus E. Acko.
And I'm David Campbell.
Excellent. And we are here with a guest this week is an actor of the show STARGIRL. Please introduce yourself and tell us who you play on STARGIRL.
Hey guys, I'm Trae Romano. I play Mike Dugan on STARGIRL on the CW.
In the UK, we don't have the CW, although we do get certain shows from the CW either on E4 or Netflix or Amazon Prime. It's most likely going to be Netflix. As E4 that will be getting STARGIRL. It should be coming out, I believe, on Amazon Prime sometime later on this year. But for those of us who don't know what the show STARGIRL is all about, can you please tell us what it is?
Yeah, of course. It's about the main character played by Breck Bassinger. Courtney Whitmore moves from LA to Nebraska with her new step family, and I play the step brother, and Luke Wilson plays my father. And we moved to Nebraska, and she discovers that her father might be a superhero from the JSA days back in the 40s. So this kind of whole thing like happens in Blue Valley in Nebraska where they're staying, and they figure out that that there might be some like villains there, and there's a lot of shady stuff going on, and she kind of Courtney kind of spearheads the next generation of these superheroes. So she recruits all these, young kids to kind of carry on the legacy. And, Luke Wilson kind of plays as like the sidekick almost. And I'm, just the stepbrother, like I said, to Courtney. And it's just a sweet story. There's a lot of morals to it that, a lot of, I think, that, a lot of CW shows are like kind of missing. And it adds this kind of like, new flavor to the lineup. So it's, it's overall, it's a fresh new take on superheroes in general, because there's a lot of humor. There's a lot of, there's some really gritty, dark stuff. And, just overall very well-rounded show. And it's a breath of fresh air for everyone that's watching the CW and, DC Universe.
So the CW has a stable of superhero TV shows. I mean, the Arrowverse, Flash, Supergirl, and now STARGIRL, and they all seem to be, obviously they are all DC products of the DC universe. Are you a fan, or were you a fan of DC comic books, DC stories before going on to STARGIRL, or is this a new experience for yourself?
This is largely a new experience for me. I always liked, the Dark Knight series, like with Heath Ledger and, that was really my first introduction to DC, and I think that was probably like the biggest thing that the biggest DC thing that I ever watched. Never really watched Justice League or anything like that, and it was a little bit of like almost a culture shock, I would say, like going on the Stargirl, because like there's so many terms and stuff that I didn't know, and along with like Luke Wilson and everything, that Jeff really helped us out. The showrunner Jeff Johns, he really he helped us out a lot, just running us through like what all these characters do and what all these like what their backstory is and everything like that. So even though I didn't really have a big history with DC Universe, and I really did get this like almost refresher course from the man himself, Jeff Johns, who's really done a lot of great superhero work and even stuff outside of that. And I got to watch some of the stuff that he's done, like Wonder Woman, and like I've read some of his comics. So it's it was a lot at once. So it was just a bunch of information coming in like really quickly. And it was kind of for all of us interesting, especially for the superhero characters, hearing about their characters and like their backgrounds and everything like that. But yeah, that was really the first time I was ever introduced to the real like DC fandom. That was the first that was the first time outside of like Marvel and like the mainstream superheroes that I really ever heard about the story in general.
You just gave us a clue there.
Okay.
You just gave us a clue there. You say that all the superheroes. Is your character one of the supers?
Actually, no. Mike Dugan, which is my character, he mainly is just the stepbrother of Courtney, the stepson of Pat, and Jeff Johns. The way he originally wrote Mike's character and Pat's character is that they were kind of like the comedic relief of the show. There's a lot of kind of dark stuff in the show, and they really have this kind of connection and this really comedic just way about them, because they were on the road for a long time before they ever got to LA or Nebraska or anything like that. So they really have this almost like brotherly bond, even though they're father and son, and that that really helped the show in general. So that Pat and Mike are really like the comedic relief. And it really does fit in the show pretty well. Jeff was very happy with all the stuff that Luke and I were doing. So Mike is really just that younger brother who's just the comedic relief. But at the same time, later in the season, like stuff does start getting more serious for Mike's character, and also for Luke's character and the whole show involved. So it really does take this like dramatic turn towards like the middle of the season, which it really brings out a lot of this like drama, because everything was so light in the beginning. But yeah, Mike is not a superhero. It's always possible in season 2. I've heard that a bunch of stuff like that happens in other CW shows and superhero shows. So, fingers crossed, maybe, I don't know. I'm happy how, Mike's character is being written right now. So, we'll just have to see during season 2. But for right now, no, Mike is not a superhero.
Excellent. You're listening to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM. I'm Marcus E. Acko.
I'm David Campbell.
And we're here. Our guest this week is Trae Romano. He's one of the stars of the hit CW superhero show Stargirl. Should be coming on Amazon Prime later on this year. I want to ask you a little bit more about the crew that you were working with before we move back into the comic book aspect of Supergirl. So some of the cast of characters, some of the actors on set, you mentioned Luke Wilson, Amy Smart, Henry Thomas, Joel McHale. I love Joel McHale from Community, and Amy Smart, those of us who were watching all the road movies like the Road Trip and all the sort of slacker comedies in the night would know Amy Smart. Luke Wilson, obviously part of the Wilson brothers, Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson. Your experience in acting has been with some heavyweights. I'll come to Beau Bridges in just a second. What have you gotten from them as being able to work with these people who've been working for decades in the business? What have you learned from these actors?
Well, number one is just, be genuine with yourself. Just when, I remember one of the first days I was on set, I asked Luke, how do you prepare? Like, how do you get into character? And, like a bunch of that, those are really like hard questions for an actor. Just that's, everyone has their own process and everything. And I remember Luke, super humble, super straight, was like, I just try not to forget my lines. And I thought that was hysterical. I was just like, he kind of carried, and even Beau Bridges and everyone like that, they all carried that kind of vibe about them. They're always just humble, like, genuine people. And, just stay genuine. Just don't let it get to your head. And, the other thing is like making your own stuff. I know like Luke, he's a writer. He writes a lot. He's been trying to put this movie together actually recently that I got the privilege to read. And that was one of the big things as well. Just always, you can't always rely on people in the business. You really have to rely on yourself. So him telling me that, and just really just good information. Not like stuff that people say like, oh, like, follow your dreams, or whatever it is, all that cliche stuff. Just actual real things that are really helpful. And like we had the privilege to have a lot of creative freedom on the show on Stargirl, because we were like the two comedic kind of characters in the show, which was, first of all, a privilege to be even considered next to Luke Wilson as a comedic character, which was, really awesome. But we also, had the opportunity to write our own scenes and show them to the showrunner and stuff like that. So it was, I learned a lot, not even, from advice, but just from experience, just like, I know I'm confident in myself enough to, if I wrote this, I can show it to somebody, or if I want to make this strong choice, I can. So it's just a bunch of, unspoken things that I really just learned from being around them, just their personas and how they interact and how they act. So it's just, I've probably learned, more than I've learned more than any acting class or anything like that ever, because, just everyone says, just being on a show, being in it, that teaches you more than you'll ever learn, like when they say that if you want to learn Italian and you go to Italy for like 3 weeks, you'll learn Italian. So that's kind of what I relate it to. It's like learning a language. When you're submerged in it and you're always constantly in it, then you figure out a lot about yourself, how you interact and how you tackle a scene. And you also learn a lot from everyone else. So it was just a great learning experience, I think, for everyone. And this hiatus between us filming season 1 and season 2, I think it's really given a lot of us a lot of time to like look back and look at what we've done in season 1 and reflect on it and kind of look at what we can do better and what we like. And it's just it's a blessing that we got to do it the first place, but I think it's going to even be even better in season 2.
I'm glad you brought that up, and I want to cover that before I move on to the next topic I'm looking at. What's happening with regards to the pandemic and shooting of season 2?
Well, with season 2, we the targeted timeline right now is just sometime it would be released in 2021. So it could really theoretically start shooting anytime between now and 2021 or early 2021. So there's like, even now there's a lot of shows filming in Atlanta. Tyler Perry was doing a lot of stuff. Even Luke's brother Owen was doing a TV show down here. He's probably still, I think he's still filming actually. But there's a lot of stuff that's still going on that's actually just started happening. So it's really up to like anyone at this point. It's up to the network. It's up to what they feel comfortable with, because theoretically, if you really wanted to start now, you could. But Jeff Johns and the writers and everything of the writers' room, they all have to have a lot of time to get this season started. And I know Jeff's had a lot of time to put this together, and he's been working with his team and everything like that. And from what I've heard, he has this whole amazing storyline, multi-seasonal, that is really already laid out. So I'm pumped. I'm ready, and I know it's going to be good. I have faith in Jeff wholeheartedly, because I know what stories he can tell, and I know he's capable of that. So it's really up to anyone at this point, but I hope we start as soon as possible.
That's it's good to hear you say that. One of the things DC has really, I guess CW for one, have really done is they've brought the DC stories, and they've done very well with DC stories on TV. I know, say what you will about the movie world or the cinematic universe, where Marvel seems to be dominating in on TV. Whether it's quantity or quality, I guess it's easier to say quality because of the amount of output for DC on TV, but Stargirl seems to be in there as well. It's already getting nice critical buzz for season 1. As you mentioned, it's light. It's lighter than what the Arrowverse pretty much was leading towards.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, as you said, the more you go on, it'll get darker, which is great. It's great for stories to be able to explore that aspect as well and not just be superficial. So it'll be great to see that coming in. Now, I want to ask you, I know this is, as you said, this is your first foray into the comic book world. Have you, for press and publicity, hit the comic book conventions yet for Stargirl?
Well, I'm not really aware of how many cons and stuff have been going on during the pandemic, but I know there are some that are definitely going to be lined up after season 2. I know, the show leads like Breck and, like all the superheroes like the JSA, like Cameron Gelman and Angelica Washington and Yvette Monreal. They're all kind of doing these online fandom things, which is really cool. And, that's kind of the extent of it for season 1. But for season 2, they're planning some pretty cool stuff with in-person cons. Everyone's going to be going. There's going to be, Tokyo and New York and San Francisco. And honestly, I'm looking forward to that more than anything, because just being with your cast in all these amazing places and amazing locations, that's just going to be probably, like a highlight of us being together. But that's I'm looking forward to that. That's pretty much all I really know. I'm pretty sure Mike's character and I'm going to be in those cons and stuff like that, Comic Cons. So I'm looking forward to it, and I know I've seen some of the stuff that the JSA have been doing, like the superheroes and stuff like that. So that just makes me even more excited because it looks like a great time.
Try not to be too upset by me asking this, but who taught you to drive?
Who told me to drive? That's a good question, actually. Well, I would probably say my father, the mechanic, is in the show. Pat, my father, also plays a mechanic, and he drives old cars, and he's one of those. He's a car guy. So if I was to guess, it would probably be my father, yes. But I have a little suspicion that Mike maybe was not driving the car, that he just stopped the car and then quickly entered it, as I did on set. So I don't know, but we'll see. Maybe season 2 they'll explore the Mike running people over.
I was trying to avoid saying anything about that. I just wanted to ask that question.
Yeah, well, yes, you're right. So I don't know. It's anyone's guess at this point, but
yeah. So major spoiler there, delivered by Trae, not me.
I don't want to be
thanks for leading
DC.
Thanks for leading him into it. You're listening to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM. I'm Marcus E. Acko.
I'm David Campbell.
And we have one of the stars of the new hits CW series, Stargirl, Trae Romano. Trae, thank you very much for joining us. I want to ask some more questions, and moving away from Stargirl. You're relatively new in the industry. You've done a number of projects with some. I mentioned Beau Bridges. You've worked with Luke Wilson. You've moved on from there. Where do you see your career path in the industry? Do you see yourself staying in and sort of focusing more on the acting side of things, or would you consider perhaps moving, as you mentioned, with Luke, writing, etc.? Would you look to go in that particular direction and create your own work, or would you rather hone your craft as an actor?
I think that's a great question, because the people that I've always looked up to in writing and acting and directing have always been, the trifecta, like the triple threat, that have written, directed, and acted in their own things, like Jon Favreau and like Vince Vaughn and Taika Waititi, who is a genius. Those are the people that I've always really looked up to. And and that's always been my goal. I've always wanted to create things, not just in front of the camera. I love that. I love bringing someone else's vision to light. But at the same time, I always tell everyone this, that as an actor, the most important thing in acting is writing. I think if you're an actor and you're not writing, you should start, because just writing and acting go, in tandem. And once you start writing on your own, you can start like problem solving on your own. You can start breaking down things that this character is thinking, and at the same time, creating good stories and like perfecting your story structure. And that really that's what has driven me, at least, that I want to create unique things, as well as also I would love to be just given a script in front of me, and like I would want to see what you can do with this. I love both aspects of in the industry, and I eventually, like I said, I would like to do all three. I don't know how viable that is, but I'll definitely try my best. But I also firmly agree, and this is actually something that Taika Waititi said, that there's too many depressing things on film, because sorry, let me actually like restart that quote, because I just realized I was looking at something in my room. But he said, life is too depressing as it is, and I don't want to go to a theater and just see something more depressing. So I firmly believe in that too. And like, with my writing, I've always tried to make it as original and light, but also it's sometimes of course dark as it can be. It's a movies, like, I forgot even who said this. I hate, like, I'm quoting all the time, but someone said, like, movies are human, that's why everyone likes them. There's there's ups and downs in everyone's life, and so is there in movies. So I firmly believe that, with even just as a creative in general, just having a lot of depth to your characters that you play, or the depth to the screenplays you write. It doesn't really matter, but just you always have to have that depth, and no matter what you do.
Your influences, I mean, you mentioned Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn, Taika Waititi, and you even just said it yourself. You sort of paint the impression that you lean more towards comedy, quirky comedy, than you would towards drama. And I guess, obviously, you can't really, I'm just making the assumption, you're not going to isolate yourself and say, actually, I'll just be in that one box and just be a comedic actor. Because in 10, 15 years from now, your life may change, your experiences may influence you, and you decide to move in a particular different direction. So would it be safe to assume that if you were to choose your path, you would go towards, towards the light? In other words, comedy and a lighthearted comedy, quirky comedy, such as Taika Waititi's work, or do you feel yourself actually, you might try that a little bit, but you're more willing to want to experiment a little bit more?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, because I've been writing unofficially for about 4 years before this, and this year I really try to start taking stuff seriously. And I finished one screenplay this year, and one I would like to call it a professional short, because it's not just like a short film that you could film like, but it's a short form script that is definitely, it's supposed to be, it's written as an all out full budget. But I've tried many times actually to write a drama, and I just cannot bring myself to do it. At least now, I think it's maybe just my personality in general, that just, like, even when I'm writing, I can't help but add just like stupid funny stuff in that I would like. And it's not even stupid funny stuff. It's I the stuff that I love is just that bringing humor out in dark situations, which I think Taika Waititi and Wes Anderson have done beautifully. It's just it's the little to no emotion, and what someone's saying makes it so deep. That's what makes it so that's what makes it so powerful, because you can really see what's going on in someone's head, even though they're not outwardly bawling or laughing or crying. It's something that's almost a masked emotion, and that's those are the movies that I love, just masked emotion, that are like just things light in the dark and dark in the light is almost like what it pretty much is. Just bringing out the small moments and stuff like that. And people that write like 100% dramas that just like, it's just like completely depressing the whole way through. I'm just like, I don't think I could ever do that. Just I couldn't bring myself to write that. And the script that I just actually finished writing, my feature-length screenplays, there's a lot of ups and downs, and that's, for me, that's the most fulfilling. And who knows, it might change down the road. One of my best friends and an amazing writer, he just finished. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's ready for the screen drama. I love like watching them. I love reading them, but I just personally can't bring myself to write them. But who knows, that might change down the road. But for right now, that really is my interest.
You mentioned Taika Waititi as an influence. Off the top of your head right now, what's your favorite Taika Waititi movie?
Boy, I think it's everyone always really looks at Jojo Rabbit as his best film, which I will say that was my favorite Taika film before I saw Boy. No, actually, sorry, hold on. I watched Boy before I watched Jojo Rabbit. I'm sorry, but I came back to Boy actually after I watched Jojo Rabbit, because I watched Boy quite a long time before I ended up watching Jojo Rabbit, and I really didn't know too much about Taika, and I loved his work in Boy, but I never really paid attention to who was really doing it. I was like, I love that movie. It was one of my favorite movies. I watched JoJo, which was just, I think, some of the best cinema in a long time, just based off the tugging of your heartstrings and how much that you can endure in like a 90-minute showing, that you, and Taika said, he's like, you when you can laugh and cry in the same sitting, that's how I know I achieved my job. And personally for me, Jojo Rabbit was an amazing story, and it tackled something so unbelievably dark with such a amazing view, a lens of a child. And that's honestly that's his wheelhouse, that he always looks from the lens of children. And that just makes everything in and of itself just this whole different world, because you're not assuming a movie to be like that. Like if you were to watch Citizen Kane through a child's eyes, it would probably be different. So that's the overall just creativeness. But going to Boy, I think Boy is such a honest story. It was just, there's no fluff. Like you could argue that the Jojo Rabbit was a little like glorified. Clearly it is. It's it's supposed to be glorification of something that shouldn't be glorified, because you're trying to make people remember how awful it was. But also with Boy, I just think that it's so grounded and so real that I don't know, I just think is one of the most human movies I've seen. Also, just this kid that has lived his whole life thinking his dad is the superhero, and he meets him and he's not. That's just such a kick in the shorts, and you have to cope with that. He might not be the best, but he's still my father. And also all of his other kids look up to him. And that was like the beauty of that last scene of like Boy. I just think that's some of the best work out there.
You cut very good pick for Taika Waititi. Huge fan of his. Boy, I saw fairly recently, about a year and a half ago, and absolutely right. It's really very sentimental, but in the right way, because as you said, the entire movie is seen through the child's eyes, and you can't help but feel for both the character and for the dad, magnificently played by Taika Waititi as well. Final question I want to ask before we move on to our next segment. You're learning the guitar. There's a guitar hanging right behind you. What's your favorite tune to play on the guitar?
Well, actually, I've been playing guitar for about 5 years now, and
okay.
But I never really took any guitar lessons. I'm completely self-taught. I kind of almost have I have a good ear with like listening to to music and trying to replicate it. But I really with music, and it's also like the same as film. Just I like creating my own stuff, and I've probably learned like one or two actual songs that I'm like, oh, I want to learn the song. But other than that, I try to learn techniques. I try to take techniques from Jimi Hendrix or Eric Clapton and then apply them to something that I play on my own. And that's almost kind of a metaphor of my writing and acting and just creativeness in general. You take a little bit from everywhere and you kind of throw this into this hodgepodge of whatever it is that you're doing. So yeah, with guitar, my main influences are Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton. I love Slash, but I don't really think that's a big influence. I don't really play like rock. I don't think, but I try to play as much as I can, and I'm always trying to learn something new, because I don't really learn specific songs, but I always look up different techniques like on YouTube to see like what kind of riffs you can do and stuff like that. But overall, I just love to tinker on my guitar. It's just something that really can just get your juices flowing. But yeah, I mean, I've been playing guitar for a long time and don't think I'm gonna stop.
Last question, and it's going back to Stargirl. You said earlier that you thought that you and your dad provided the kind of comic relief to the show, but wouldn't you actually, or would you say, because you've got to understand, I'm in England and I haven't seen the show, he says, would you actually say that yourself and your dad are actually providing the anchor to the show?
Wow, no, that's a really great question, and in a way, you could argue that I think that Breck Bassinger, who plays the main character, is just phenomenal. She's one of the best actresses I've ever worked with and also seen on screen. Just her work ethic is incredible and amazing. And I think what Jeff told, or the creator, told Luke and I after the show was completely edited, we were all talking, and he just said that these scenes really bring out, the good in, characters and the good in these people, even though it's kind of a pseudo dark show, that we almost built this relationship from a comedic angle, and then it grew throughout the story into, a little more dramatic stuff. And it really did have that full cycle, which made the relationship really realistic and very human, like I said. So, in a way, I guess you could argue that, but there's also, a bunch of other amazing relationships on the same page as that. But, I just think that Luke and I took advantage of the situation. We really tried to capitalize on our characters. We tried to, hang out as much as we could to really build that father and son bond. And, he's a great friend of mine. I consider him. And, it's just that it was so easy to play on screen because we really enjoyed each other in real life. We would play golf, we would go out to dinner, we'd write our own scenes and stuff like that. And it was just, I think it was just a very genuine on-screen relationship.
You're listening to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM. I'm Marcus E. Acko.
And I'm David Campbell.
And we are joined by one of the stars of Stargirl, the new superhero show from the CW network. It's going to be on Amazon Prime end of this year, maybe end of August, beginning of September. We have Trae Romano, not in the studio, but on a Zoom call with us. And he is now going to, this entire next section, which is the top 5 favorites, is directly for Trae Romano, not for any of us. We're not contributing to this one. And the category for this week is top 5 favorite TV shows, superhero TV shows, or superhero TV shows.
Oh.
Romano, are you ready with your number 5, with your top 5?
Me? I think I might not even have a top 5. I might have a top 2 or a top 3.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough. You know what? What we'll do is we'll keep it. Obviously, we know Stargirl is not going to be part. Is not going to be one of them. So we already know that Stargirl is going to be number 1. So we discount Stargirl. So this is your show, is your episode. So if you want to go top 3, we're fine with that. You can go 3. favorite superhero TV shows.
We might make some suggestions to you for you to watch as well.
Yeah, I would always take suggestions, but I've seen only a few, and the one that I've seen is The Flash on CW, and I don't even know if this is considered a superhero show, but on the Umbrella Academy.
Oh yeah, that is definitely that is
also The Boys, I think.
Oh yes, absolutely.
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 I think The Boys is number one brilliant because, and also, I'm gonna also tag in Umbrella Academy with this because they're both humorous, but at the same time, really pushing that superhero content in this dark, gritty way. I forgot, was it The Seven or something? The Seven in The Boys? The Seven, like, they were like such gritty, like just ruthless people, I thought it was so refreshing to kind of see that. It was just raw. Like, it was just, you could just tell that it was just these top rich pompous people that are just controlling this like whole entire syndicate of superheroes, which it's hard to even argue that they're superheroes in the first place. But I think that was just brilliant. Umbrella Academy, I'm only halfway through the first season actually, but I'm still going to add it in because I think it's just also brilliant. I actually auditioned for Umbrella Academy 3 times. I actually went to a producer session and everything. They ended up going older, but I think the kid who plays 5, the role that I was auditioning for, he does an incredible job. He's an amazing actor, and I think that's probably the best fit for the show, of course. And again, with that, I just think it's so creative. It's just so creative. It's just this whole new thing, and I'm not sure, so maybe you could tell me, but is that based off like a story already, or is that a completely new concept? Okay.
So both of them are. So The Boys is based on a Gareth Ennis, I believe it's Gareth Ennis, a graphic novel, or just a graphic novel series. And the Umbrella Academy as well is also based off of its own set of graphic novel series as well. So yes, they are established works that have just been adapted for television. I believe, and I'm not entirely sure, don't quote me on this, because I haven't actually read the Umbrella Academy books. The Boys, yes, I have read. The Umbrella Academy kind of is close, so that the Netflix show is close to, or is closer to the source material than The Boys is to its source material. So The Boys has the base elements are there. So you have the main characters. Obviously, they've changed some of the main characters as it is. Mainly the main character, Huey, because the main character Huey is supposed to be Scottish. Actually, it was based on Simon Pegg, who plays.
Oh, really?
Show. Yes. So if you read the books, it's basically a graphic image of Simon Pegg, but obviously he was way too old to play Huey, and as such, he ended up as a cameo plays Huey's dad. So there's that, and it's sort of he's now American rather than Scottish. The story elements as well have changed a little bit. Some of the storylines still cross, but they've changed it a little bit. I mean, they probably still will stick with some of the storylines in the graphic novel, but I don't know how far into the graphic novel they will go because of some of the changes they've already made. Some characters are just changed wholesale. And
was it originally like that dark in the comics? Oh, okay.
It's even darker in the comics. If they do follow, the whole idea was that they want. I mean, effectively, and I'm not speaking for Alan Moore himself. Alan Moore is the creator of Watchmen. One thing that Watchmen was all about was just.
I haven't watched that. I need to watch that.
Oh yes, that's a TV show you should watch. You're asking for recommendations, so this is a time where I start speaking nonstop. Please feel the internet is going to switch off in a second to shut me off.
Yeah.
No, I want to hear it.
I would say to you, watch the film first because the Watchmen film first. Watch the Watchmen film first, then go to the series.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely watch the film first. If your dad will allow you, because it's kind of like
He's a grown man, David. He's a grown man. He can watch. If he watched The Boys and he watched Umbrella Academy, he is okay to watch The Watchmen.
Yeah, okay, but then
True, yeah.
you know, officially he's only 14, so we have to temper that, if you see what I mean. With our recommendations, you're not supposed to be watching these, but if you are allowed to, I would recommend that one.
2020's 14 is 1980's 21. Okay, so it's like the stuff that you get to watch.
If you saw what I was watching when I was 14, you would say that. But anyway, moving on.
Moving on. So just to add to what David is saying, if you do want to watch the Watchmen TV show, and I highly recommend that as well, it is a great TV show to watch. He is right. Watch the Zack Snyder movie first. There are a lot of people.
Oh, it's directed by Zack Snyder?
Yes. Yeah. There are a lot of people who are cursing me right now, who are going to listen to this and right now yelling because I'm saying you should watch the Zack Snyder film, because it divides people's. It splits the audience almost 50-50.
That's one of those.
Really love it, and there are a group of people who absolutely hate it. The thing is, again, he sticks very closely to the Alan Moore graphic novel.
He does.
But there is a very big change at the end, which if you just went from the movie and went to the TV series, that will be very jarring. So you would need, that's where you need the graphic novel as well. I'll just chuck this out.
Yeah.
In the movie,
so the graphic novel kind of bridges the gap between both?
To be honest, the graphic novel is similar to the movie. So literally almost beat for beat similar to the movie. There is the big denouement at the end of the movie is changed, where the MacGuffin, if you will, what brings about the massive attack on New York is not Dr. Manhattan as the movie describes. The movie obviously has it as Dr. Manhattan. In the comic books, in the graphic novels, it's a giant alien octopus or a giant alien squid, which is invented.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Well,
yeah, thanks. No, but that's interesting, because I do know of Dr. Manhattan, because one of my good friends is a avid comic book reader, and he's always telling me all about Dr. Manhattan. I was like, Dr. Manhattan sounds awesome, because he's pretty much he's like the all powerful at that point. Like, you can't really touch Dr. Manhattan.
Absolutely, yes. So what you have in the movie, he's the massive explosion. However, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when you start watching the TV series, they reference the giant squid, and as such, you'll see. So that's the reason why I'm saying, if you just watch the movie and jump straight into the TV series, you're going to get confused and think, why are the
giant squid? Yeah,
exactly. That's basically what it is. So what I would say is, if you have the time, read the graphic novels and then jump into the TV series. If you don't have the time, watch the Zack Snyder cut. Go onto YouTube and when you go to YouTube, there's a YouTuber I love to watch. It's called Comics Explained. Find the Watchmen series that he does. He basically will go through every whichever comic series you want to learn about, and he will just tell you the story, tell you background, tell you side stories, etc., etc. It's a great way to consume comic stories, content, without having to read the comics yourself. You can just go on Comics Explained. Nice plug for Comics Explained. I'll give him a shout out as well. It's a great show. Great.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I love.
Just gonna insert it right here. This is something that we will edit and put towards the beginning of this whole section. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! For those people who don't know,
it's lacking here with the spoilers.
Yeah, it is a big spoiler alert. So we'll cut that little bit out, put it towards the beginning of this section, so people know right at the beginning that there's a spoiler in there. Okay.
Yeah, producer Dave is going to do his work.
Moving on, top 5.
So Trae, you've I think if I heard you correctly, this is the top 5 segment. This is a very butchered version of the top 5 segment to do. But if I understood you correctly, you said what your top 1 was, which was a tie between The Boys and Umbrella Academy. Did I hear that correct?
I think you're right. Yeah, I almost in some way, in some aspects, I think Umbrella Academy. But then again, I'm not finished with it. and in some aspects, The Boys. I don't know. I think personally, I think the set design and the cinematography in Umbrella Academy is amazing. I think it's brilliant. I love the color. I love the like the color grading and everything like that. But also at the same time, you could also make the same argument for The Boys, that it just has an amazing cinematography and like color grading and everything like that. They're both very different though. So I don't know. I think it's tied. Yeah.
All right, so let's say that they both tied as number one. Let's go to let's skip 2 just to help you out here because you don't have that many options. So we'll say you tied for number 1 as the Umbrella Academy and The Boys. We'll skip 2. What is your third favorite superhero TV show?
Okay, so this one's pressing a little bit because I've only seen a few episodes, but The Flash, I'm gonna have to say, because I have nothing else.
Only seen a few episodes. See, the network execs at CW are looking at you and thinking,
They're probably like, I don't know who this kid is, why he's here, but it's, what are you gonna do? I guess I don't know. I hope I don't get shunned by CW, but I have not watched it yet. No, because I've heard some of my friends, they really like it, like The Flash and stuff like that, like the Arrowverse and everything like that. But I was never that involved with like all that stuff, like all of like the complete like traditional stuff. I love like the kind of outlandish, like very creative versions of like superheroes, like Umbrella Academy and The Boys and stuff like that. I just never really turned myself on like that traditional like DC TV shows. Should I? Theoretically, yes, I probably should, but have I? No, I have not.
See, you're talking to a Marvel fan here, so yeah. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I consume all types of television, all types of TV, movies, anything. I consume all of it. So I've seen all of the Flash episodes. I've seen the entire Arrow universe. I even dived into Legends of Tomorrow. I think they're great. They're good shows. Let me pull that back. I wouldn't say great. They're good shows. I think Grant Gustin is amazing as Flash. But I am a Marvel. I'm a Marvel head through and through. So I
was always a Marvel fan before DC. I never really knew of any DC stuff, but really drove home the DC kind of. I don't know. What really drove home DC for me was Joker, definitely. I think because like when I saw Joker, I knew that was like legit. I was like, that's like a different, like I couldn't see Marvel doing that, I thought it was just a completely different like aisle of just superhero.
So we're talking Joaquin Phoenix, Joker?
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix, yeah. The Joker, yeah. I thought that was brilliant. I was Taxi Driver, played by Robert De Niro, probably a little bit better version, possibly. But for the origin story of the Joker, I think that was a brilliant movie for DC. But like you said, I was always Marvel all the way, the Avengers, everything like that. Because I just I never really briefed myself in the world of DC. But hey man, for because I honestly I don't even know of any Marvel superhero TV shows. Like, are there any?
Okay. This is where I'm jumping in. Okay, so you have Netflix subscription.
Yeah.
Go and check out the following TV shows on Netflix that are Marvel. You want to start with Daredevil, and this is the order you need to get a pen and you get a piece of paper and you need to write this down. So you need to
Daredevil.
Yeah, you need to start with Daredevil, season 1. Then go on to Daredevil season 2. The reason why you go in that order, you go Daredevil, then Daredevil season 2.
Can I cut you off really quickly? Actually,
go on.
I just remembered something. I watched The Punisher season 1. So that technically is a Marvel TV show, which I completely forgot about.
Absolutely. But, this is the reason why I was giving you that sequence. And I was saying you should have watched Daredevil season 1 first, then Daredevil season 2, which introduces the Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go and watch the Punisher season 1. My dogs are barking. My dogs are agreeing with me. I'm taking that as them agreeing.
Yes.
Then watch Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones is also on Netflix. Then watch Jessica Jones season 1. Then watch Luke Cage, right? Then go back and watch Punisher season 2. Oh, actually, no, not yet with Punisher season 2 yet. Go back to watch Daredevil season 3. Then Jessica Jones season 2. then Luke Cage season 2. Ignore what's the one? Iron Fist. Ignore Iron Fist. You don't skip Iron Fist. Skip Defenders. Not because I have to be diplomatic, and I know I'm but I'll be diplomatic, and I'll just say this. So Iron Fist, the first season has its issues. You can watch it and switch off your critic brain and just enjoy it. That's fine if you want to do that, and then watch Defenders, which is what I did. I watched all of them. However, for time, you just want to get good stuff and good content, skip Iron Fist because they made so many mistakes. They built up, it had a great premise. Some of the acting was good. There were issues because it was rushed. So, but it's.
I've heard that. I've heard about Iron Fist that I don't know what character this guy played in Iron Fist, but in Ozark season 3, the brother, I forgot what his name was, Tom Felby or something like that.
He is the best character in Iron Fist season 1, and he is wasted in season 2. That's one of the reasons why I'm saying, because he pops up in season 1 as the not the stepbrother, but he's sort of he's not the stepbrother of, I can't remember the name of the characters anymore, but the main character. He kind of is the pseudo antagonist to the main character in season 1, and he's a great actor, and he does excellently with what is given to him. But then he's season 2. But yeah, I mean, you watch it you get some great characters. You will enjoy it if you are not overly critical. You will enjoy it and just binge watch all of them. So yeah, but you said you've watched Punisher season 1, but not season 2 yet.
I have a couple of recommendations myself, a bit more quirky than those. The first one is a DC thing called Doom Patrol.
Oh, I still have not watched that.
You need to watch that. That is hilarious. It is so funny, but there is some real depth there as well. And it's based on one of my favorite comic books, which is X-Men. You see all the sort of like the various different characters who represent X-Men in there, but completely differently. Yeah. And the second one, even though I've only watched season 1, there's season 2 and season 3, is Legion. And that is definitely related to X-Men. It's a Marvel thing. So but that is very, very trippy.
Yes. Legion. I like Legion. I love Doom Patrol. Absolutely love Doom Patrol. I'm season 2 at the moment because they're releasing it in. It's not like Netflix to drop everything at the moment, so they're releasing on Stars, and I'm halfway through season 2. I love Doom Patrol. Legion, I did enjoy it. It's very cerebral for my tastes. Love Jermaine Clement. Again, Taika Waititi reference, connection. He's in it. So he's in it as well. So I absolutely agree with David's selections. More with Doom Patrol than with Legion, but that's just to piss David off. So
no. I have to say, from what I was watching, Legion season 1 trounces virtually everything else I've seen when it comes to superhero stuff. It's just so cerebral, but it's just so out there as well. Season 2, I still haven't gone into.
I might like it actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, season 2, but Doom Patrol is just absolutely spot on, brilliantly entertaining, really, really, really good. Not as cerebral as Legion.
No, there's so much stuff that I should really catch up on theoretically, because like once you're part of the DC universe or whatever it is, whatever fandom you're part of, that you should do your homework. The only really the only even action comics that I've ever read were the Stargirl ones, just to get familiar with the Stargirl story. But I should do that because I know Jeff. He was either he was a producer or something like that on Doom Patrol as well. So that's and it also films here in Atlanta. So I should definitely check that out. And also the Punisher season 2 and Daredevil. And not that order, in the other order that you previously...
In the original order. Start with Daredevil season 1, season 2, then go on to Punisher. You can cut out Jessica Jones if you want to. I think Jessica Jones is a great show. David Tennant playing Purple Man is amazing. It's those are great shows. And then you have Luke Cage that has Mahershala Ali playing. I can't remember
Really?
his name. Honestly, you get amazing acting in the Netflix TV shows. They were, because they started off, they were great. But I think obviously it's probably the whole fight between them and Disney and Marvel and whatnot. That's why properties got yanked and so on. So Netflix has stopped all of those shows. It's now going on to Disney.
No, that's all. I was honestly surprised that they stopped Punisher. I never watched the second season, but based off the first season, I thought they would really have legs. That's kind of a shame that didn't get really.
If Disney Plus wasn't a thing, we would have gotten Punisher season 3. So, but at least
Tell me,
now
you must tell me. Have you seen My Super Ex-Girlfriend? Just out of curiosity.
No, I have not actually. I'm curious to see where this is going.
Well, no. Yeah.
Yeah, producer David, where is this going? I think I know where this is going. It's because My Super Ex-Girlfriend has Uma Thurman as a superhero, and Luke Wilson plays the main character.
Yes.
Who is, yeah, of course. I figured that's where
Yeah,
Really?
that's where I was going. Yes.
My Super Ex-Girlfriend, really?
Yes.
Wait.
Yes.
Dad,
Uma
your,
Thurman
dad,
is a
your
superhero.
dad has an ex-girlfriend who's a super.
Super Ex-Girlfriend. This is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. So I'm looking it up right now. Just see, Super Ex-Girl.
It's my Super Ex-Girlfriend.
My Super Ex-Girlfriend. Okay, I found it. Oh God, that's interesting.
You must watch that.
It's not bad. It's a
I
comedy.
really might watch that tonight. No joke. That is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It's not bad. Now you've got your list of comic book TV series that you want to watch to catch up. I want to wrap up with this one question to you, Trae Romano. So far, you've been listening to Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM, and we have guest Trae Romano. Thank you very much for joining us for this last hour, just rabbiting on and listening to us rabbit on about TV shows. What's next for you after Stargirl? I mean, Stargirl's still moving to season 2, but are you working on any other projects other than Stargirl?
Yeah, and there's definitely stuff that could be happening, and there's a lot of actors always say that because there's never a definite in anything, but it's an absolutely maybe, which my friend Josh has coined. It's like absolutely maybe. It's so there's a few of those. There's some really great stuff that I was in the mix for pre-virus and everything that just got shut down. So that's like during the Corona, I've really been taking a lot of time to write, like I was telling you about. And I'm actually I was on Instagram one day, and I was looking at the IGTV videos, and I was thinking that's a great place to have original content, like theoretically. And my friend and I started writing a all original IGTV series. That's like a 5-episode series on IGTV, which is like 5-10 minute segments of content. And my friend is he's a director. He wants to be a director. I'm a writer. We write together. So it was a pretty good it was a pretty good situation because he's got all of his equipment and everything and all these amazing things that he shot. And we were gonna start doing that before the Corona ended, because I'm going out to LA in the next month possibly. So that's I guess that's the only project that I'm like kind of working on. But outside of that, some professional stuff might be coming up soon. And also, of course, Stargirl season 2. We're going to start filming that, I hope, soon. But for right now, just going off what Luke said, just trying to do my own stuff and just making the most out of it. But if Corona wasn't here, if the whole virus thing, there would probably be a lot more going on, clearly. But for right now, you just kind of got to play the cards that you're dealt. So we'll see what happens.
And if anyone wants to follow you on social media, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, on Instagram, I just at Trae Romano, no underscores, no anything, just at Trae Romano. I should probably be posting more there than I do, but I try my best. So yeah, follow me on Instagram at Trae Romano, and that's pretty much all I have for it. I don't really have any other social media. So yeah.
Honestly, living a clean life, just having one aspect of
In
social
life. You know, too much
One aspect of-
responsibility is just, not great. So just leave it with one.
Absolutely. Trae Romano, thank you very much for joining us on Shoot the Breeze on Resonance 104.4 FM.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Have a great day.
And you.
Excellent.